Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Jazz Lab podcast. I'm here today with a young pianist who I'm incredibly impressed by named Zsigmond Gerlóczy. I've been checking out his Instagram, which I'm going to put up on screen for you all. He does these incredible improvisations with two-hand counterpoint. I would imagine classically influenced, but we're going to get into that today. I'm going to pick his brain. And I feel really honored to have him on here today. So thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Really quick, I want to thank Casio, the sponsor of today's episode. They have been such great friends to this podcast, and I really, really appreciate it. And they help me provide this incredible education for all of you for free. More on that later. All right, let's get right into it. So much beautiful stuff that I just heard. As usual, my brain just goes crazy with questions. And so my first question really is just, did you actually grow up playing jazz or classical first? I'm curious what your background is.
I started to study classical music. I started out with the violin when I was 4, and there was a very old upright in our living room. When I was like 7 or 8, I started to vary the pieces I learned, and like it was there from day one that I changed stuff and wanted to come up with like what if I do this, what if I do that, how does that sound?
So in other words, you were improvising, like even when you were learning classical, you were already starting to improvise with it.
Yes, I think from day one I was interested in like how these pieces were created, like how they came out of nowhere. Like they came out of nowhere, so there is a lot of other stuff in nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
man. That's a really interesting way of looking at
Yeah.
it. So one question I have for you, and I'm just kind of curious, let's say there was a world where you just focused on classical, but built your improvisation skills solely based on classical technique and classical harmony. I'm kind of curious, do you think your journey would have been super different or your playing would be super different? What did jazz bring into your playing?
I mean, it's all connected. Even like bebop and like baroque, in my opinion, is like very close to each other. The importance of ornaments and like the density of the whole thing. Bebop and baroque music has this strange, like they're kind of cousins. The art of improvisation, which is like practiced in the world of jazz, like day by day, like everyone is doing and was doing it. And that's like the big difference between the two worlds nowadays. It was different before, and classical musicians were improvising as well. So I try not to really think in genres and just let all the musical impressions I had throughout my life have like make these strange connections in my brain. And yeah, definitely, I mean, when it comes to like physically playing the piano, like obviously it gave my right hand some flexibility and like strength and also like a way of phrasing.
So in terms of influences, I'm curious, who would you say ultimately are your biggest classical influences and your biggest jazz influences?
Now let's start with composers. Like obviously the GOAT, Bach, is the greatest of all time. Other than that, I'm open to every form of music. 20th century Russian music, Prokofiev, Shostakovich, Rachmaninoff, these guys. I'm a huge fan of Schubert. He writes like super sad things and then diatonic major scale. And Schoenberg, especially the early Schoenberg, when he still had this connection with the tonality.
Are there any pieces that you feel like gave you a lot of insight into specific techniques, or that have techniques that you still use a lot to this day?
All the imitation stuff of Bach and Baroque music, it's like that helped a lot of independence,
yeah, hand independence.
Yeah, independence. I tried to learn a couple of times the Goldberg variations. That helped me a lot. And also like English suites, a couple of them. A bunch of stuff I played from the well-tempered clavier and the Mozart sonatas. They also kind of give like a steady left hand, which I lost ever since. But
interesting. Doesn't sound like you've lost it, but so one question that I certainly have as a piano nerd, and that I think a lot of people watching this will have, is if you can be like as specific as possible, like what is the process like of translating some of the Bach, like into something that you would actually use for your own composition or even improvisationally?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any things that you practiced consistently to make that happen? Was it more of just like something you're working on? Yeah, I'll let you take it.
I don't know. It's just like I just.
So how would you describe what you were just doing?
I mean, I have this theory, and it's not really a theory. I mean, we're always talking about chords and chords and chords and this voicing and that voicing and how good this and that sounds, but like at the end of the day, there are really no chords. They're just individual melodies working together. The greatest way of thinking about music is like respecting all the parts. And like, you know, it's like respecting everyone in society. Like to have equal parts. It's like, you know, Bach's music is really something where democracy is truly alive. Like everyone gets a chance to speak up for themselves, right? I try to improvise it that way. Each little note needs to go somewhere, and like.
I am going to put you on the spot just a little bit. I said I wouldn't, but what if you had to teach me to do a little bit of what you're doing? Like, have you ever taught someone this stuff before, or like, what might you tell me to do?
I mean, I have this very cool game that so you tap on the triad of any. The harmonic structure you're creating is you do it in a way that you can always move one note of that triad, either upwards or downwards, a major or a minor second, and like that's it. You can get to very interesting places and do little like ornamentations and like melodic figures on that three parts.
Would you start with just one hand?
No, I would start with two hands. Like
okay,
like yeah.
You can open one.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But you could,
or start closed.
Maybe you can start closed.
Okay. Can I move two notes at once?
No, only one.
Only one.
Only one, but like you can. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, I was throwing you off there.
Right? Right?
Very
but
cool.
You get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Let's do that, or have a specific motif, just like three notes, and try to just squeeze the most out of it with like maximum three parts. Like, can you give me a motif?
Sure. Maybe just like.
Right. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. Really, really beautiful.
Come on.
Yeah, so cool.
You know, you can have like this consciously diatonic approach to things, and you can have the consciously like non-diatonic. You know, I love to modulate in weird ways. We can talk about this later.
Yeah, I'd love to hear. That was actually going to be my next question. Is right now you're mostly doing diatonic movement with the counterpoint that you're doing, and I was kind of curious how you then bring in some other harmony. Are there any specific interesting directions you take it, or methods that you might use to practice to go other places?
I have two very simple methods, which I'm very happy to share with.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I really have this system with augmented chords. So there's an augmented triad, and whichever way you higher or lower any of its notes, you get to a harmonic triad. And like each note has two possible resolutions, and they are like A minor and C major in this case. They are like relative to each other, right? Like cousins. And it's like F minor and A flat, and this is like C sharp minor. And if I go upwards, then this is the leading note of a minor, right? And if I go downwards, then it's like a flat six of a major, right? And it's the same thing, like flat six, either, right? And I kind of adore how this resolution sounds, and I often just build augmenteds on strange places and do these. I feel that augmenteds are like little wormholes in harmony, and like, you know, through them you can do stuff like this. Right?
Yeah, gorgeous. So you're essentially just taking augmented triads, but as you've practiced it, you can hear and see what the possible resolutions are, and it sounds very, very musical because it allows all the inner voices to lead musically. That's super cool, man.
Exactly. And you know, the good thing about the augmented is not present in the diatonic scale. I mean, it's only present in harmonic minor, right? But you can build it like anywhere, and instantly, can jump to many places.
For sure.
So this is one of my ways to go to like super strange places in no time. Like
it's like so musical and also surprising, which I think is what hits people's ears so much. And in a world where there's so much music, to hear something feel like a journey that makes sense, but still takes you to a path you weren't expecting. It's really, really beautiful. So you're sitting here, you're doing this beautiful improvisational stuff. And one thing that's really impressed me is, I've heard you say, and I've also just seen how quickly you're able to compose a specific piece.
Oh, you want me
like
to rhyme?
a bagatelle. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna say that, but if you'd be up for showing us, like, literally, I'm gonna sit here and compose something. Like, some of the questions that come to mind from you are like, where do you start? How do you memorize the piece that you've created?
Mhm.
How long does it take?
Well, with the memorizing, I have this span, 5-6 days after I've read them, and then I'm like, how was that? But yeah, luckily I have a good friend called Jula Laiho Jula. I know this guy from high school. He's been always just the most musical and kindest person, and he hit me up quite recently that he's seeing that I'm about to release my bagatelles and sheet music, and he was like, he wants to help and put together the score. And now he has a very, very big help for me to like notate stuff, because I can do it, I love to do it, but like
It takes a lot of time.
yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I'm not very virtuosic with that program. So huge shout out to Jula.
Shout out to Jula. So my question about memorization is kind of, you compose it and you really learn it just by memorization at first. So I'm kind of curious, like, would you be willing to show us a little bit of that process?
Yeah, pick a key.
How about E minor?
Yeah.
And it's going to be just a somewhat mid to fast-paced, quick-moving, that was redundant, but quick-moving, kind of intense piece that lands on some interesting places. Was that too
Oh my
vague?
God. Okay.
So cool,
Yeah.
man. Honestly, this is incredible to watch.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. I mean, it never takes 3.5 minutes. It always takes like an hour, but like.
No,
Yeah.
exactly. I was imagining, okay, so you do this section for 3.5 minutes, or you do this section for 5-10 minutes, memorized, figure out the kind of development, or like the B section, whatever
Exactly.
it is. And that brings me very smoothly to my next question, which is, how are you thinking about these things formally? Because I know I've heard you talk about different really classical forms, like bagatelles.
What is a bagatelle?
Exactly, I have no idea.
Me neither.
Really?
I mean, the only thing I know about it, I mean, I know the meaning of the word, and I also know the series Beethoven did, which are like literally just like this song form, super short preludes with like Furellis, which was actually a bagatelle.
Oh, for Elise. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. I didn't know.
Furellis,
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a bagatelle.
Well, okay, so in terms of forms, are there any forms that you use, like predetermined, like, I know that this is how it develops? Like sonata form is an example, right? It's always a very specific set of kind of instructions to some degree, where we follow these sections.
In short, no.
Okay.
You know, I didn't really like study composition in like an academic manner. I think I have a sense of like contrasting themes and like episodes, and it's like, you know, just as everything in the world, like music is also about like balancing shit. You know, without surprises you get bored. With too many surprises you get distracted,
You'd be overwhelmed, yeah.
overwhelmed, and like, you know, it's like harmony is also about like balancing the bright and the dark sounds.
When you say bright sound, dark sound, what do you actually mean? And then how do you balance it?
That's like a bright sound, and this is a dark sound. Like,
yeah, so our mutual friend Dennis Ham, he argues that, like, for example, a minor 9 chord, or kind of the Dorian minor, would be a bright sound, which I think is interesting. But
minor
I kind of
9?
agree. Yeah.
Minor 9 is It's dark.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I was curious how you would hear
I
it.
think it's darker. Yeah, I think it's darker. But like there are levels to darkness,
Sure.
right? I mean, this is dark. I mean, this is dark, yeah. In a way. But like, it has nothing to do with this kind of darkness. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's
right.
so dark. I mean, and I like both.
So how do you move between them? Do you just feel it in the moment, or is there some level of, I want to start something brighter and then I want to get darker?
Oh no. I mean, when it comes to improvisation, and it's a pity that I'm not more conscious about it, because then I would be so happy to like, to talk about it.
No, sure.
But it's
no
like,
worries.
I can't really talk about something which is also like mysterious for me, like how this thing happens. So usually the moment I start to tell my hands what to do, it becomes like just not as worthy. It may sound like bullshit, but it's really true that the best things are happening when I'm not like consciously making music. I just let that thing to
And how do you get there?
happen. It always has something to do with like letting my feelings to just run over my body, and like to like play something of the heart.
I notice that you sing when you play.
It's something I again like unconsciously do, and sometimes it's horrible. It
No,
sounds
but it helps
horrible.
you get into the flow
Exactly.
state. Mhm.
Absolutely, because for instance, when I'm doing the sound or any sound, like I don't hear the sounds from the outside, because that's how we're, right? Yeah, it's not a conscious process. It's not like, oh, I'm at this key and I'm moving and I'm going there, and like, and I actually, especially in the past like 2-3 years, I really like, I came to understand a lot of theory stuff and like what I'm doing. But so it was always like, oh, like I ended up somewhere, like, oh, this sounds good, like what is this? But it wasn't ever like, oh, I learned all these things, and like, so it
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
I think I'm a good teacher in the sense of like, I have good questions, but sometimes I don't have like the academic answers to stuff. I just know like, what should I found out about music, and like maybe that could help others.
Yeah, so I mean, one question I would have for you that's, I think, very interesting is, how much time would you say that you spent learning an exercise versus learning a piece versus simply improvising? So if you had to tell us, this is what my general practice looked like every day, did you do like...
It's like the latter is like 85%.
Improvisation.
Yeah, or 90. Or 90.
Really quick before we keep going, I do just want to take a quick minute to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Casio. Casio has been such a huge friend and supporter in making these episodes possible for all of you to receive these hour-plus long, wonderful long-form conversations about music from some of the best pianists and musicians and educators in the entire world. Casio is a huge supporter of free online music education in general, and I'm so grateful to them for their support. Now, right in front of me is the gorgeous Casio Privia PXS 7000 in the mustard yellow color, which I absolutely love. I've been wanting to get my hands on one of these for a couple years now. There are a whole bunch of elements that make this a really enjoyable instrument to play. Some of the smaller things are things like this beautiful ivory texture on the keys, which makes your fingers stick more to them like a real piano. Even these small little touches like actual spruce wood on the sides of the keys. But even more importantly, the key bed is really lovely and the sounds are great too. And of course, for me, the look of an instrument is really, really important, whether it's because you want your home to look really nice and not have that eyesore of an X stand, or whether you're like me and you actually are putting instruments in video content or in a studio. The stand that comes along with it, along with the attached pedals, is just a really, really beautiful look overall, super sleek, something that I'm really happy to have with me at home or on video in my studio. And by the way, it's really easy to unscrew the keyboard from the stand and just bring it along with you to gigs. So all in all, I'm a huge fan of this keyboard. It's one of my favorites that I've honestly ever owned. And if you're interested in it, please click the link in the description to check it out. That link also gives me a small commission on any purchases you make, but regardless, I think this is a wonderful instrument worth checking out that's just absolutely beautiful, minimalist, and sleekly designed to have a wonderful playing experience. All right, let's get back to it. All right, so we took a quick break. Now we're back. We're talking about techniques. So, and not just techniques, but also practice stuff, practice techniques, practice exercises. So you said there were a couple exercises that you worked on that you felt like were really helpful. I'm just kind of curious what some of those might have been.
Definitely like improvising on a motive, like sticking with one motive and like try to get that motive occur as many times as possible. I read these two books by Schoenberg, The Structural Functions of Harmony. This awesome book in harmony, which really talks about like harmonic gravity over tonalities, right? So that was his thing.
Mm-hmm.
How parts are gravitating. Like
Can you explain a little bit of that?
Yeah, later maybe, but I want to talk about the other book.
Sure.
Which is the Basics of Composition. It writes a lot about like how a small musical element, inside out, and change many to its attributes, but still somehow you can feel that it's the same movement. If it, I mean, there's this thing. This is the okay, and then if you do like, it kind of feels the same. I mean, it's the same energy. And if you do like, and you do like, it still feels the same. And if you do like, it's,
yeah,
and like also, or like, right? And just try to stick with the motive. Give me a motive.
Sure.
But I just know where I want to go, but I'm not there.
Okay.
Not there. No one's there.
Yeah, I think.
Like.
Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I feel like I suspect maybe you don't think that much in terms of voicings, but I'm kind of curious, like in the jazz sense, do you ever think like, oh, this is how this voicing is, or I need to learn this voicing shape and move it around?
I never really did that. I mean, that's not true. I never did that, but not in terms of like jazz standards or like tunes. Just certain sounds I like. There are a couple of voicings which I always use, like these kind of things. Like also, I love this add for thing.
Yeah, the crunch at the top.
I love it. Also love the stacked diminished sounds. I was always more interested in the path, like the harmonic path, than the actual like manifestation of those harmonies. Like, you know, like the foundation, how it
Right.
goes, like the actual changes, and not
the end result of where the chord
yeah,
lands.
yeah. I mean, the roots and the fifth, and how you miss a couple of notes. There's another little system, I think, and very similar to the augmented thing I talked about, is that if you have a full diminished and you lower any of its notes, right, then you get a dominant 7, right? And like there are so many ways you can resolve a dominant 7, right? Mm-hmm. There are these fake resolutions, like 5 to 6, right? And like 5 to flat 6, and 5 to 1, and 5 to like minor 1. Right? And it's just, if you take, let's say I'm in C major, or I don't know, pick a key.
How about sure, D flat major.
D flat major. So what I'm trying to explain is, like I just hop onto diminished, and then I could do like, or I could do like, right? That's beautiful. Like, okay, right? Up a minor third to minor.
Beautiful, man. I also want to give a quick shout out here to the gorgeous Selviano Grand Hybrid Piano. This is a really interesting instrument, a very unique instrument, because it's a digital keyboard that I get to actually use for MIDI and production, but it literally has real physical hammers built in. So usually digital instruments are essentially creating keybeds to try and emulate a real hammer action keybed or piano, right? This one literally is a digital instrument with it actually built in. So I find it really, really cool. You open up the back here and you can actually see the hammers up in the corners. And what do those hammers do? Well, they make it feel amazing to play. So I love this. I will hook this keyboard up into MIDI. I'll use it to play through either Pianotech or Keyscape, one of the beautiful sounding piano sounds on my computer for production purposes. And yet I actually feel like I'm playing a real grand piano. This instrument also has 3 beautiful piano sounds that I want to just show you really, really quick. So this is the Berlin Grand. Here's the Hamburg Grand. And finally, check out the Vienna Grand. I just wanted to make sure to shout out this instrument as well because I've been really enjoying using it. Again, if you want to learn more about this, check out the link in the description. That's an affiliate link for me, so it really helps me and Casio out. And one more big thank you to Casio for sponsoring these episodes. I enjoy doing them so much, and it's great to work with a company that wants to support really quality education going out for free to all of you. All right, let's get right back into the episode. So a kind of left field question here. How much do you practice?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And I think also just I
wonder what implied you to.
Yeah. Well, also just like how often are you creative? Because something I've been experiencing personally is this weird situation where I spend so much time like working on music, but not necessarily in a completely creative way, not necessarily like being creative during the day. And it makes me feel like it's harder for me to access my full creativity than it used to be. But for you, if I may, it seems really easy to access that creativity. So I'm kind of just curious, like, how do you exercise that muscle? How often are you actually composing something?
Well, it's a good question. Man, I don't really practice.
I hear you though. I don't really either these days.
I mean, like when I'm at the piano, I tend to like write some little thing or improvise. But like, it's not really working on my.
But you could still say that's practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, in a way.
So how much do you play every day?
On a good day, I'm able to, like on a really good day, I'm able to play for 6 hours. On a really bad day, it's like nothing.
So I would say though, that's a lot of practice.
Yeah, I mean, but those days are rare.
Okay.
I'm just able to do it. But like, nothing is very, very rarely happens when I'm like on the way or doing something often music related. I'm 99.9% music related. Also, these Bagatelles I'm doing them because like I'm doing like technically challenging stuff in them in order to keep myself alive. But like on the other hand, I'm like thinking like, how would my brain know what I used to do, what I should do, because it never did it, right? So practicing and writing and piano time was like kind of one thing for me now. And also I started to do these bagatelle things because like I write something real quick. It's always one idea blooming, and if the idea is like I did the C minors, it was kind of like I would possibly not post it. Right?
Okay. Well, I'm gonna post it.
Okay.
I think it's awesome. Like honestly, and I'm sure maybe you wouldn't post it yet, but maybe if you spend an hour on it.
Yeah, that's right. Right? That's right. Exactly.
So actually, one more nerdy question for you. I was listening to your most recent record. I actually listened to a couple of your records. Really cool to hear the one where you're singing and producing. And on the first track of your solo record, the most recent one that I saw, on a scalar level, I was hearing a lot of really interesting things. I think I was hearing a lot of harmonic major, harmony, and scale use. And I was just curious, is that something you've thought about? Are there any scales where you're like, this one really interests me, the sound really interests me?
Yeah, on a scalar level, I mean, I've just spent 3 months in India, and I recorded that just before I went there. And I was always super, super stoked by Indian musical heritage and like just the way they approach scales, right, and ragas, and that they literally use all the possible scales in the world. And I sometimes just mess around with like how can I connect two notes, like right, just this fifth. Like a fifth is like a so peaceful thing. Like how can I?
Gorgeous,
like how the darkness and the brightness of the sound like switches in and like
So you weren't really thinking in terms of scales. You were actually thinking in terms of how can I create different harmonic feelings that connect these notes?
Yeah, I'm thinking, and I mean, that's a good way to put it up. When good things are happening, I'm thinking of feelings. So I'm not really thinking, I'm feeling. I mean, but it sounds like bullshitting, but it's actually not. It's actually not bullshitting. Well, it's just like, I mean, the more you play, you kind of have, you know, there's like a physical sensation to how like the piano resonates. And,
Yeah, yeah.
right. So there's this thing, but that wooden box,
Absolutely.
using sound. Yeah. And when I happen to like play like good harmony, like improvising good harmony, when I'm not really thinking, it's really like a physical thing, like in my hands, nowhere to go, somehow.
I really love it because just in general, like I think as music becomes academic, oftentimes we fall into certain just methodology, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. It helps people learn, but it's always really cool when someone comes out of nowhere and thinks of it a different way. And I think that's what you're doing, which I love. It's really, really intriguing to me. Before we get into doing some playing stuff, you want to tell us a little bit about how you're also getting into composition combined with production? The record, there's some tracks that just blew me away where you're singing, but also playing some gorgeous stuff. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, that album was made in a week. Like we recorded and wrote everything in a week with my friend David Nathan, who's an amazing songwriter. He produces most of Mono Neon's like later things, and many other artists, Harvey Mason, for instance, which is pretty sick. And we did this album in a very, very short time, and this was kind of the only. This is my first, ever released of such, and now I'm into creating the second one, and I generally just developed a very deep interest in songwriting and producing records. I hate everything I've ever done. I love that when I did them, and that's enough for me. Like right. Now it is my right to hate it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not yours though.
Never.
No, just kidding. I've met a couple amazing songwriters throughout this past 2 years. I would like to highlight two of them who are really, really, like, it means the world that they scooped me out of nowhere. One of them is Walter Afanasieff, just an amazing orchestrator, songwriter, composer, musician, and like he shaped a lot of pop, and not just pop, like semi-classical pop arrangement, songwriting. In the 90s and 2000s, he did most of like Mariah Carey and Celine Dion stuff. Wow. And produced a lot of Disney, like the whole new world. And,
wow. Now you're really speaking my language.
Right. And The Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that. And actually I'm recording some improvisations and maybe a bagatelle or two in his studio tomorrow.
Cool.
Which is amazing. And also one of my big songwriter, I don't like the word idol, but like I really, 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 really adore his stuff since many years ago. Jeff Basker, he just texted me 1.5 months ago, which really blew my mind. And I spent almost a week, a couple of days with him in Middle California by the shore in his studio, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful time. And there's a record I'm coming up with alongside with the sheet music for 33 of my Bagatelles. And this little, because I was lucky enough, they didn't meet yet, but it will happen in 2 days, to introduce Jeff and Walt to each other. Like, they both got like producer of the year and like just giants in their fields, and like wow. They never met each other, and then like 3 of us, we might come up with a record to these Bagatelles, which is
sounds incredible, man.
It's pretty crazy, yeah.
So, where will people be able to check all this out? Like, what's your Spotify? Is it just right under your name, right?
Yes, it will be under my name. There's a couple months to it till it arrives. Cool. And I'm also like alongside this one, I'm working on the second vocal album. So some people are like, is your song what you just recorded? And the improvisations, like they're coming from two different person,
Right.
and like there might be some truth to it that that the people I reach with my solo piano stuff, and the people I possibly will reach or already reached with my songs, they're just like absolutely not the
Totally
same people.
different. Like, I know in this world of like algorithms, it's kind of strange. Like sometimes artists will actually separate those two
And
things.
there are these people, even people I look up to, like Keith Jarrett, telling me that you should do like one thing, but I don't want to. Like I want,
I don't think you have to.
And like, and also like, Walt sometimes tells me, like, why do you want to produce like pop records? And why? Says Walter Afanasieff, who produced like 2,000 pop records.
Right.
So,
well, cool, man. I feel like we're getting towards the end here, and man, thank you so much for the stuff you shared. How would you feel about playing us a couple more things?
absolutely.
Bro, thank you so much for being here. That was absolutely
you.
stunning. Really appreciate all the incredible insights that you have shared, not just with me, but with everybody watching here today. I know people are going to be deeply appreciative of it. Everybody, make sure that you follow Zsigmond on social media. He's going to have new records coming out really soon. And yeah, man, the insights that you shared today were absolutely incredible. Thanks everybody for watching, and you will catch us very soon with some more Jazz Lab. Talk soon.